Okay, so welcome everyone. This is the virtual imaging platform Applications as a Service and Beyond tutorial. We have four wonderful presenters. We've got Sorina Pop, Alexandre Cornier, Alex Bonnet, and Sandesh Patel. I will let them take it away.
Thank you very much, Alexandre. So let me just start sharing my screen and have it in presentation mode. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
It's, we also see the notes.
Okay. So.
We see your screen, not this one.
Wonderful. We didn't realize that before. But... Okay, let's do it like this.
Okay.
Actually, I think I can do it otherwise.
Sorry?
Yeah, normally. So, can you still hear me and do you see the right screen?
Yes. That looks correct to me.
Perfect. Perfect. Apologies for this trouble. So, hello again, everyone. I am Sorina Pop, and together with Alexandre, Sandesh, and Axel, we will be giving you a tutorial on the virtual imaging platform, Scientific Applications as a Service and Beyond. So we are all in France right now, in Lyon. It's 5 p.m. local time. And during the next 90 minutes, we will start with a short VIP presentation so that you can understand what VIP is, what this can be interesting for you and how it works. And then we will move on to the hands-on. And the hands-on will be made of two main parts. The first part will be just the login and using applications that are already available on the platform. And the second part will be just slightly more technical, allowing you to import an application into VIP. So to begin with, what is the virtual imaging platform? It is a web portal for medical imaging applications. On the right-hand side, you have a screenshot, but I won't go into details because the guys will show you this during the demos. VIP leverages resources, computing and storage resources available in the EGI Biomed Virtual Organization in order to offer an open service to academic researchers worldwide. So it's available on the European Open Science Cloud Marketplace on the link you have here. And today we count more than 1,300 registered users and more than 20 applications publicly available. So the URL is here, https://vipcreatisinsalyon.fr, but we'll go there just in a few minutes. What's in it for you? Why are you here today? First of all, VIP offers you, as I was saying, scientific applications as a service. And you can both use existing applications on VIP, that's the first part of the hands-on, or, and actually, import your own applications and make them available to the community. And that's the second part of the hands-on. But beyond that, because that's the name, right? Applications as a service and beyond. Beyond this service idea, VIP offers transparent access to computing resources using the EGI Biomed resources. It can be used in various use cases, such as scientific challenges that I will mention a bit later. And it also fosters open and reproducible science through Zenodo, DOIs, containers, and the ReproVip project. And I think this could make a good subject for next year, maybe, if you're interested in it. Now, let's have a look at a few examples of applications already available in VIP. I would say there are two main categories. First of all, we have applications that are internationally used and renowned, such as the gait simulator for medical imaging and radiotherapy. And then FreeSurfer, for example, and FSL for neuroimaging. So you have here, I don't know if you can see it correctly, but on the right-hand side, you have an image of a 3D whole body scan simulated with gait, which takes some 4,000 CPU hours on a single machine. And here we can see the two interests for VIP, so having the application available as a service and taking advantage of the distributed computing resources that we have. And then another example of a wide gray matter brain segmentation with FreeSurfer on VIP. And a bit later, Sandesh will talk to you into FSL, which is a software library for neuroimaging also, and which is the application that we'll be using during the hands-on. So that's the first category. And the second category, I would say, are homemade applications that PhD students, engineers, or researchers develop in the lab, and then they would like to share them with their colleagues. And a nice and simple way to do it is to import them into PAP and then make them available as a service. So beyond existing applications, you can import new ones. And this is what we'll be doing into the second part of the tutorial. The three main steps for importing applications consist in building a container or a Docker and Singularity image usually containing the application. Then describe your application using the boutique descriptor, which is a JSON file allowing to describe the command line, the inputs and outputs, but that we'll also see more into details during the second part. And then send these two things to the VIP team. Now, what is boutique? Because I mentioned it. So boutique is a system developed by Tristan Glatar and his team at the Concordia University in Canada. And boutique allows for automatically publishing, integrating, and execution of applications across multiple computational platforms. And all that by respecting the FAIR principles, so that applications that are integrated with boutique are findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Now, so we've talked about using existing applications, importing new ones, and then we mentioned transparent access to resources. And I should say a few words about the biomed community in EGI. It covers life sciences sector with three main thematic groups, such as medical image analysis, bioinformatics, and drug discovery. And clusters and computing sites that are part of the EGI infrastructure make available to us storage and computing resources. And these computing resources are quite heterogeneous. We have, historically, we have access to high throughput computing, which is a large shared grid computing. We, since a few years, we have access to cloud compute, that is virtual machine-based computing with associated storage. And now we also have container compute. And in addition to that, we have storage that can be used in multiple ways, but then again, I won't go into details. And all this, it's in open access for researchers, for non-commercial users and life sciences applications. We simply have to acknowledge the use of these resources because this gives them the possibility to get funding. And how do we access all these heterogeneous resources? Well, we mainly rely on Dirac. Dirac is an interware. It's a piece of software that allows us to use multiple types of computing resources in a transparent way. So on the right-hand side, you have a picture with the users on the top and the computing resources at the bottom. And this is what Dirac does. Actually, it will take tasks from the user and it will match them on an available computing resource. And this is done in a transparent way. It's quite magic for the end user. So for this tutorial, we will be using computing resources, so that the small clouds that you can see here. So we have dedicated resources for this tutorial, a few virtual machines that we've booked on a cluster in France, the Cine platform. So this is where the RAP will have your tasks executed. And then we also have 1 or 2 virtual machines on which we deployed a virtual imaging platform demo instance on which you will have admin rights for the second part. So we'll see this more into detail during the hands-on. And how does this integrate in the big picture? So you as an end user, you only see the web portal, right? We will log into it and then select an application that we will launch. And behind the scene, each VIP application is described as a workflow. And out of that workflow, we will generate tasks that will be handled by Dirac, who will submit these tasks to distributed resources and then bring back the results in VIP. That's really to give you the big picture of how it works. And if you have any questions, we can come back to it. Just a quick word on how you can use a VIP beyond these applications as a service. I don't know if you're familiar with scientific challenges. So these are contests for which the organizers will set a problem, a scientific hard problem, and a set of data on which that problem can be evaluated. And then they will give out the problem and the set of data to challengers who will try to solve that problem. So last year, with partners from Offset and France Life Imaging, we organized such a challenge on multiple sclerosis segmentation. I put here the link if you're interested. There are plenty of details and interesting information there. I just wanted to tell you that for that challenge, we integrated 31 pipelines or applications using Docker and Boutique into VIP. And then we've had all the challenge executed on VIP. Using, of course, once again, Dirac and EGI cloud resources. A few words on open and reproducible science now. So I think we've all heard about the reproducibility crisis that is ongoing. We have here a pointer to a paper that showed that the analysis of a single functional neuroimaging data set by 70 independent analysis teams revealed substantial variability in reported binary results. And well, this is a global and a large problem, and I don't think we can solve it alone. But we thought we can help at least with the results that are obtained on VIP. And we have a new project that started this year, Reproducibility with VIP, that aims at evaluating and improving the reproducibility of scientific results obtained on VIP. Simply put, we want to get the same result when the code is executed with the same set of inputs. And then provide this as an integrated end-to-end solution, allowing to launch reproducible executions in a transparent manner. So as we have applications as a service, now we would like to have reproducible applications as a service so that the researcher does not have to spend too much time on that. That's the idea. And all this, so inside this project will be evaluated on 2 case studies related to MRI, one more focused on the acquisition protocol and the other one focused on stroke prediction. And as I was saying, this is work in progress. We've been thinking of it for a few years now, but I hope this project will help us advance even more rapidly and maybe show you something next year. All this is done by our small VIP team, because we're not that many. I am the manager of the team. I'm a CNRS Creatis engineer. And then we have the 3 permanent contributors, Axel Bonnet, who is here with us, Frederick Servanansky, and myself, and project-related contributors. And now we have here with us Alexandre Cornier, who is funded by the EGIA's project, and Sandesh Patil, who is funded by the FlyAM project. The VAP source code is open. It's available on GitHub. We have 2 VAP releases per year on average, and multiple repositories for dependencies. And we have quite a few collaborations with EGIAs and FlyAM that I've already mentioned, with Iraq, France, Greece, and also with Tristan Platter, who is an associated professor at Cornier University. So I would like to take advantage of this moment and thank them all, because it's a real pleasure to collaborate with them. So that's all for my short introduction. Thank you for your attention. Don't hesitate if you have any questions. I think we can have a small break for questions now, and then we will move on to the demos and hands-on. We'll have short demos followed by hands-on. And we encourage you to watch the demos without trying to do it at the same time, so that you focus on the demo so that you understand the most of it. And then we'll have dedicated time just afterwards for the hands-on. And we have here a shared document that I will put into the chat. That is actually the whole plan of the tutorial today. So while I hand over the screen to the next presenter, who is Alexandre, I think, I will put the link into the chat, and please don't hesitate if you have any questions.
Okay, so hello everyone.
Maybe just a moment for the questions, if there are any. No questions?
Would you like people to unmute, or would you rather them put questions in the chat? This is Leigh.
Thank you, Leigh. Since we are not that many, I think people can unmute themselves and ask questions loudly, unless they prefer writing into the chat. That's fine also. So in the document that I'm sharing now, on the last page, there's a question and answer section. I thought of it mostly for the hands-on, but we can also use it now if you prefer. It's up to you. No questions? Then.
Okay, so let's move on. So hello everyone. My name is Alexandre. Yes. Sorry, so welcome on the virtual imaging platform. I will do a quick demo about how to create an account on the VIP platform. So first of all, I will show you the login page of the virtual imaging platform. So we can divide this page in 3 main blocks. The first one is the first part is the warm welcome on the virtual imaging platform with some information and description about the platform. You can find here also the term of use and then an email address to contact us if you have any questions or problem about the platform. Also below, you can find some more information about the IP, so you can find documentation, but also the list of applications that are available on the IP, application tool, the GitHub code, and then some news. What is the most important here for this demo is this part, the middle part, the middle block. So we have 2 ways to authenticate yourself on the VIP. The first one is the classical one, is to create an account, just to click on this button here. And then you will arrive on a new tab. You just have to fill in some classical information like your first name, last name, and so on. The most important is the email part and the password. Once this is done, you just have to click on the sign up button. And then you will get on your email address an email with your account activation code that you have to validate. And then you put your email here and your password, and you just can sign directly on the application. And then get access to all the applications that are available on the virtual imaging platform. The other new solution that we offer to the users is a connection with AGI check-in. So you just have to click on this button, connection with AGI check-in. So AGI check-in is a proxy service that operates at the central hub to connect the federated identity providers with AGI service providers. So the homepage of AGI check-in is here. It's divided in two main blocks. So the first one is more about academic accounts that we show you just after. And then you have the most common identity provider or social accounts. So you can find Facebook, GitHub, Google, and so on. So for me, and for this demo, I will choose my favorite identity provider, that is CNRS, Personal Disunité. So I can just find this here and click on it. Once this is done, I will be directed directly to the Janus authentication that is specific to the CNRS to validate and authenticate ourselves. So I will put my email address and my password and just to click on connection. And then I will land on the AGI consent page once my credentials are validated. So this page is important because it shows you what type of data the virtual imaging platform wants to get access directly. So here the service would like to address your user identifier, but also the basic profile info, your email address, and some community user identifier. Also, the virtual imaging platform is very careful about your data protection because it's following the GDPR, that is a European text on personal data protection since May 25, 2018. You can find also the logo about the virtual imaging platform and some more information to click on this arrow. So the homepage of the platform, but also the use policy and some content. Once you are aware about all this information and you want to agree about it and you want to get access about the platform, you just have to click on authorize button here. And then this part will finalize the part of the AGI check-in services, and you will land directly on the virtual imaging platform. So not directly on the home page, but the My Account page. So first of all, you have to read all the terms of use and to be aware about what you can do and not do on the platform. Once this is done, you just have to click OK. So you land on My Account because your profile is not finalized yet. You have to first of all fill in the institution part. So for me, it's CNRS. Also the phone number. For this, I will put an example. And then your country. And also this is done. You just have to click on Save Changes. Just a quick information also about AGI check-in. You don't have any password yet. So for this, you just have to follow this note that can be exactly working here. So you just have to click on Forgot Password and just to get back a password if you want to directly get directly logging with your email and password. Also, another information that is important is here you don't have access directly to the application yet. For this, you have to choose one of the groups that are available on the VIP. So today for us, we will choose that is specific for the demo, the mini gateways group. So you just have to click on join group, and then you will get access to the applications that we will use today for the demo. And that's it for my part. I will give the mic to Axel.
So actually, I think now it's a short hands-on. So we invite you all to go to the VIP homepage. Let me put it in the chat. Right?
Let's put them in the chat.
You've done?
No, I need to do it.
Okay. So there it is. So could you please all go to the VIP address, and then it's up to you to either to create a new account or to log in with your institution credentials, if you have any, as Alexandre showed. Would you like to share your screen once again, Alexandre, just to show the two links, the two ways to do this? And
I
then,
will show you about.
perfect.
So here you have the two ways to register yourself, I had mentioned before. The first one is the classical one, is a create account that will open the tab. And then the connection with the AGI check-in if you want to, if you have already an account with a social account like Facebook or academic social account. So you just have to click on the AGI check-in and then you will register yourself. If you have any question about it, don't hesitate to ask.
Yes, we'll take a few minutes so that you can all create an account. If you choose to create a new account, be careful to put in the right email address, because you'll receive an activation code that will allow you to finalize the account creation. So if you don't receive it, please drop us a message in the chat. So I would say that, once again, since we're not that many, could you please raise your hands once your account is created, so that we can move on to the next demo?
You have one.
Great. We can keep. So the information you're providing, as Alexandre mentioned, is mainly for in order to be able to get in contact with you. From time to time, we send you information emails, and actually your if your email address gets invalid, we can no longer keep your account valid. They're linked together. Any questions? Any issues with creating the VIP account? We only have one hand raised, so I don't know what to. Okay, so still working on it. Well, I should have more patience.
Just wait.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on the email.
So in case the email is not arriving fast enough, we can move on to the next demo and
Wait for
see what happens meanwhile, right?
sondage présenté. You see?
Yeah. Any other questions or issues with the account creation?
Vous avez 10. Vous avez 10.
Perfect. So let's have a look at the Fsl application with Sandesh.
Was it visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I first go?
Okay.
Thank you, Sorina. So and now, since you have created the account, if you go inside, you will find an application which is based on a package called Fsl, which Sorina had mentioned in her speech. So I'll be presenting you this application. Fsl is a neuroimaging tool. And Fsl is an acronym for Functional Magnetic Resonance Imaging Brains Software Library. It's a big acronym. For those who are not familiar with it, don't worry. You do not need an extensive knowledge of it or neuroimaging in general in order to use this tool. Since we have imported this tool, an introduction of Fsl is sufficient. For those who know about it, this presentation might be a bit repetitive, but it will be very quick, I promise. So Fsl was created by the researchers at the University of Oxford. It's a very popular neuroimaging application, neuroimaging tool among the neuroscientists. It could be used for analysis of several types of neuroimaging, like the functional images, structural MRIs, and diffusion MRIs. Fsl package is quite bulky, both in terms of the complexity of its processes and the size of the package. The latest version of the Fsl takes about 13 GB after extraction and build. Fsl can both be in terms of graphical user interface and also can be a command line interface and can be used on different operating systems like Linux, Mac, and Windows with virtual machines. The image that you see on the slide is a graphical user interface of the Fsl. It lists all the programs that Fsl has. These programs can be as simple as mathematical operations on images, for example, adding two images or splitting a 3D image into 2D, or it can be as complicated as a registration of multiple images to a template or a set of images using very high iterations, which on a normal local computer with moderate resources can take up to hours, sometimes even days. For the ease of this tutorial, we have selected only one program out of all the programs inside Fsl, which is called Brain Extraction Tool. It's listed on the top of the image. And I will explain you very briefly about these tools in the following slides. But before explaining or before getting into the actual tool, we need to understand the images that goes in as the input for this tool. As I mentioned in my previous slides, out of different types of MRIs, we are going to use structural MRI for this tutorial. It's also called as anatomical MRI. So basically, there are two types of anatomical MRIs, namely T1 weighted images and T2 weighted images. So the image that you see is a T1 weighted image of the same brain displayed by different angles, which are called coronal, which is the front view, sagittal, which is the side view, and axial, which is the top view. If you focus on the coronal view, for example, you will see a combination of bright and dark patterns. The bright pattern in neuroscience is also called as white matter, which represents a higher fat content, for example, brain or an organ in a brain or a bone, for example. The dark pattern, also called as the gray matter, are the fluids inside the brain. So if you look more closely at the image, you can clearly distinguish between the actual brain and the skull that surrounds the brain. The dark layer between the brain and the skull is called as cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF. The work of it is basically to cushion the brain and the spinal cord from injury, and it also serves as nutrient delivery and waste management removal for the brain. Since the fundamental of acquisition of the T1 and T2 images are contradictory to each other, the gray matter in T1 images that you see on your screen becomes the white matter in T2 image. And the white matter in T1 image becomes the gray matter in T2 image. So now let's look at the application itself. So the brain extraction tools basically separates the brain from the skull and the CSF. So the reason why we need the brain extraction, and it is significant because it is considered as one of the most important steps in pre-processing a neuroimage before it can be used for different type of processing, like, for example, segmentation or using volumetric analysis, etc. And the reason for the brain extraction is because the skull that you see surrounded by the brain has similar intensity as the white matter inside the brain, so it can create confusion. Also, there are several templates. Templates, it could be like gross representations of the various brain images that are available publicly or privately by several researchers around the world. These images are brain extracted. So in order to compare the brain images to the templates, brain extraction is necessary. The skull and the CSF can also vary in size and shapes of different individuals and can cause inconvenience, especially when mapping several brains together. So removal of the skull also reduces the number of useless voxels, and it can also then reduce the complexity of the process. So that's why brain extraction is an important tool. If you see it in the animation, for example, so this is a brain image, a raw brain MRI. And after the brain extraction, the CSF and the skull is removed, and only the brain remains. So yes, that's it for me, and I will hand it over to Sorina.
Thank you, Sandesh. Any questions on this part? Do you have your accounts ready? Because now we'll move on to the demo made by Axel, and then hands-on on the main VIP functionalities.
Yes, so now I will show you the main purpose of VIP and the main purpose of this tutorial, which is to launch the FSL PET execution on VIP. So once you're logged onto VIP, this is the page that you usually see. So this is the main VIP page that is divided in several sections. So the top section is particular. It is composed of the most important of some VIP specific features like the account configuration, the execution monitor that we'll see later, and some documentation or some social features. Every other tile, every other section is composed of applications that you can launch on VIP. So here we can see the FSL full applications that you should also see since you joined the mini gateways group. And so what we're going to do is that so I will show you first how to launch FSL PET executions, and then I will let you loose to do that yourself. So when I want to launch FSL PET application execution, I just have to click on it, and it will launch a long launch form. So it is a form that is specific to FSL PET applications. It has a lot of options because we integrated the FSL PET applications in the most complete way. And so every option available in the FSL PET is also available on VIP. But you will see that most of the inputs are optional, and only a few, a small set of these inputs are mandatory to launch an execution. So I will focus on them first. So the first parameter, which is the execution name. So it is an input needed for VIP to identify the future executions and to help me monitor it in the future. So I can put every name I want. It's just an identifier. Then I will select the input file. So it's a imaging the brain image that I want to extract the brain from. So as it is a file input, there is a small rose icon next to it. I can click on it to access a browser on VIP. So a classical file browser with directories and files. So it is composed of data that is stored on VIP, and I can select one file on this page to process one image. So at the root of this storage, I can see a home directory, which is my own personal home directory on VIP. So only me can use and access it. And every other directory are groups directories, so that are shared by all the members of the group. So there is a directory for the mini gateways group. I will browse into it by double clicking. I have data directories with T1 and T2 images. So we go into the T1 directory and select one of these 5 files. So take this one, and I will select it. And now this image is selected as input for my one extraction tool. Then I have the output file name. So it's just the file name of the output. So when I will download the results, the images result will have this name, this base name, without the extension. And the last mandatory input is the result directory. So it is a directory on PIP where the results will be written and when I will be able to download them later. So I can select my home directory. I don't have to because this is the default directory. Now every other input is optional. I can launch the application as it is, or I can select a few options if I want, like a screenshot here. I can choose to also generate a mask, and I can choose, for instance, to activate the verbose flag to have more information in the logs later. And then I am ready to launch. So I just click on the launch button. It will take a few seconds to submit the execution and direct, etc. And that's it. The execution is successfully launched. So I can close this launch form. Before letting you lose and do that yourself, I have a few warnings. So first of all, it's not a warning, it's an advice. If you are lazy, you don't have to fill everything. You can use one of the examples that is available on the launch form. So on examples, there is one example that I can load, and that's it. The form mandatories are automatically filled with an image from the same group as I done before, and it is ready to launch. And the last thing is plus button. It is an important button because, as you can see when I click on it, it allows me to select multiple inputs, but we will ask you to not use that because we run on unlimited resources for this tutorial, and also this specific application is not optimized to fully support this feature. So please just put a single input in each input. And so now I think you are ready to launch an FSL execution yourself. I will.
Perfect. Can you please, Axel, just show us once again how we can join the mini gateways group, because I think
yes.
Maybe not everyone had its account. So if you're logged in.
So you can access your account configuration on PIP by clicking on this top left tile. You access the groups list, and so you can see here I am already a member of the mini gateways. If it's not the case, you can look for the mini gateways group and join it. And then you have to refresh the browser to let PIP take account of your challenge.
Thank you.
So I will let you launch an execution, and then you'll see later how to monitor it and to download the result. Don't try to do that already. We'll do that together later.
Perfect. I see there are already 3 executions launched.
So
Big Brother is watching you.
Yeah. Normally it's an application that takes only a few minutes, so we should be able to get the results before the end of the tutorial.
So the execution itself is very fast, but if you remember, we go through the rack, and the rack will find available resources, and then we'll get the application executed. So there's a small overhead. I mean, the overhead can be small or a bit larger, depending on various factors. So it can take some time before the application is actually executed.
what we didn't tell is that you all registered today, you will have beginners accounts. And so by default, all VIP new accounts can only launch one execution at a time. So don't try to launch several because you will get an error. You need to wait for the first one to be finished before launching another one.
Yeah, so the status Axel is telling about is just on the up left-hand side corner, top left-hand side corner, where your name, and
yes.
then between parentheses, you can be beginner or advanced. If you want to get advanced rights, just drop us a message and we can give you advanced rights so that you can do plenty of things with VIP if you're interested in it.
Has everybody launched some execution?
Any issues with launching executions?
Don't hesitate.
Do you need more time or should we move on?
How many learning execution?
4.
I think we have 4 or 5. I can explain quickly. So the next step when an application is launched, you can see on the right panel the history of all my previous executions with their statuses. So this is the one that I just launched that is still running. All the other one are still either completed or failed. So this is just a basic information. Message. Yes, that's a small ingredient that we have to correct. Sorry about that. So about monitoring, so on the web panel, just a quick overview to see how are your executions. To have more information, you can go into the execution monitor, where you can see every execution. So this last one is the one that I just launched, and you can see that actually it has just finished. It is completed. Otherwise, it would have the green circle there. And so every line on this big table is in executions, and I can click on a line to get more information. So if I click,
maybe we can have just a small break, 1 minute to wait, because I think some of the attendees didn't get the application, so just not to let them behind.
okay, I'll be patient.
So remember, you can use the example on the right-hand side if you want to go fast. You can just load the example to get the inputs filled in. Perfect. I think we're fine.
So if I come back here, right? So I just selected my tutorial execution to get more information about this one. So you can see it is finished. You have on the left big panel a reminder of all the input I selected, so input file, my screenshot, etc. And on the right panel, I have an information about the output that was generated, that was produced. So there is 2 file outputs, but we will download them later. Another important thing that I can do on this execution page is that by going on this vertical tab, this second vertical tab, I have more detailed information about the actual job that run on the machine, on the execution machine. And with a series of clicks that is not very user-friendly, you have to click on the no error detected, and then you can find the actual job. And then you have a complete information about the execution, and especially the logs that were produced. So here I can see the complete logs of my executions. And as I selected the verbose flag, I have information about the inputs I put, and so some specific FSM logs. It is especially useful when there is an error get the cause of the error and to correct it if possible. So I think that's the main part of the monitoring stuff. So I think I can wait for every execution to be finished before going to the download part. So now if you can.
Yes, I'll check that. Any questions meanwhile?
Yes. So it's just classic monitoring. Executions are logged and they are running, and then we can get the final status.
Okay, so most of them have finished. There's one that had an error, so I'll just have a look at it and maybe relaunch it. So since we have access to very heterogeneous resources, well, in our case, it's less heterogeneous because we booked some VMs for the tutorial. Sometimes error can occur independently of what you've done because resources are not properly configured and so on. And it may be the case for the one that failed, actually.
Sometimes it can be an application error if some inputs conflict themselves, or we can't put anything into the inputs.
Okay. So in the case of the application, for the application that failed, actually the input seems to have been not the right one. Maybe you haven't used the browse button, or maybe there's something that was not there. I think we can move on, and then we'll I'll relaunch the one that has failed by
Okay, you corrected it.
correcting. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, if that's mine, we can just keep going. I'm familiar enough with it I just relaunched. I set mine to verbose output too, and I thought maybe that, so I unset that this time.
Perfect. Thank you.
So once the execution is finished, I want, of course, to download and to see the results. So this is done through the file transfer tool that is always available at the bottom of every VIP page. So if I click on it, it will expand another file browser. So very similar to the one I used when I selected the input file. And so indeed, this is the same storage with the same directories, of course. And so as I selected my home directory to put the results, I can browse into my home directory to fetch the results. Here you can find a timestamped directory for all my previous execution. So is another inconvenient thing in that as the storage is distributed and asynchronous, every time it is changed, I need to refresh, to click and refresh to actually refresh this. So I just click on refresh, and this made a new directory appear from my last execution. So the time stamp. So it is today at the French time 5 in the afternoon. I can double click to browse into it and to see my two files, my two result files. So I can download one. Several ways to do that. I can right click and click download. I can select it and check the download button. That I will do. And so once again, as the storage is asynchronous, the downloading must be done in two parts. So I just click on it, and you can see in the right panel that VIP downloads the file from the distributed storage to VIP, and then it provides a download link so that I can click on to get the file on my personal computer to see the files and see them in my favorite medical imaging viewer. So I won't do it because there is another great VIP feature that for an image that is an image, when the result is an image. So for instance, the first file is the .nni.jz, so it is a nifty image file. When I right click on it, I have another option which is view image. So I can click on it, and I will be able in a few seconds to visualize this image into the AP. So it takes a few time because you can see it's a big image with 20 megas. So first we must download it, and that it must be loaded into the browser. It should be okay really soon. I hope. So I think my browser is interpreting, is reading it. And so this visualization is available for different image formats. So it is very convenient when users want to have a quick check on the results to verify that the result is the one expected, to have a more profound processing. They can download and process them into their favorite tool. So I think it is maybe taking too long.
So just to mention for the execution that failed earlier, I think the issue is with the output file name, as you were saying, because I think it doesn't want an extension, maybe some dash. So we'll have a look to understand this more deeply. In the next part of the tutorial, we'll have a look at the JSON file that served for the importing of this application, and then we'll see if there are any manipulations of this name. So you can try it with the same name but without the extension, if you want to relaunch it.
So I think my browser did not like this image at all. So I think I can let you try and download your results and try to visualize them. I will try once again. So if it works normally, this image is a 3D image. So you can visualize it and go through the layers with the white panel.
So I don't know if you've tried to do the same things parallel. Maybe you can. I see that executions are completed.
Is anybody has an issue downloading and viewing it? I made the stages before it worked, but this is a demo god.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a bit concerned with the time.
Yes.
Because it runs out faster than we planned.
So the last thing I wanted to show you, so that we made the whole workflow of launching an Fsl execution and getting the results. So as you saw, it was very easy. It just needed a few clicks, but it is much more easier than installing the full Fsl installation that, as Sandesh said, it takes 20 to 30 gigas of data. It is not easy to install. So for the next hands-on, we need another VIP features, which is to upload a new file. So here I just use a file from the mini gateways group. What I could have done is to upload my own personal file. So when I am on the file transfer tool, I can upload the file. So I click on upload and I can browse on my computer to upload a specific file. So for instance, this one, and I click on upload and it will be uploaded into VAP. So similar to the downloads, the progress is visible on this white panel. So you can see it is uploading. It will be, when it is finished, it will show uploaded. And then, so that is the case. And so as before, as this is asynchronous, I have to refresh my file transfer tool to make my new file. And so now what I could do is to select this file as input for new executions. Won't do it, I think we go to the next answer.
Thank you, Axel. So just a small information here. So this file transfer thing, you need it because executions will run on distributed computing resources, as I was mentioning, in virtual machines in clouds or worker nodes on the grid. And so they in order to have access to the files also need to be stored on that distributed storage. They can't access your computer directly for the files, okay? So the file transfer that is on VAP is a logical file catalog for all the files that are stored in a distributed manner on EGI resources, right? So we have this interface that allows you to transfer files from your computer to VAP and from VAP to your computer. Any questions here? So let me share my screen. Let's share the whole screen. Because I just wanted to show you, so that was the first part of the tutorial. And then we thought of an optional break of 5 to 10 minutes, but given the time, I think we'll skip that part unless you really need it. Please cry out if you need the pause. And then the break, sorry. And then we'll quickly move to the second part. And let me share my screen now. We're already there. So what we've been doing until now is that we've discovered VIP and we've used one of the applications that was already there. Now we'll try to import a new application. Well, since we don't have much time, we'll import the same one. We'll show you how we imported the BET application that you saw. But the procedure is the same. So if you want to import another one, you'll be able to do so with our help. But importing the new application requires admin privileges on VAP, and we can't do this on the production portal on which you have already created an account. So in order for you to be able to have admin rights, we have created a demo instance at this address here. There's a warning because HTTPS is possible with an auto-signed certificate. So in your browser, you'll get a warning if you trust or not the site, so you can trust it. And we have created admin accounts for you on this demo instance. And we have a spreadsheet. I will copy paste the link in the chat. Please pick up a login here. And this will be your login on this demo instance. And on this demo instance, the first thing that we will do is that we will upload a modified Json descriptor that will serve as basis for the import. So first, let me put this link on the chat. Please go there and select your login. Why don't I? There it is. And then let's have a quick look on what this means, all this. So I've already mentioned Boutique as a cross-platform descriptive framework for applications. I put in all the, yes?
We don't have it in the chat yet, the link. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Axel. So Boutique has, let's say it has two main parts. The first part that concerns us today is a JSON descriptor that will allow to describe the application you want to import. And there are 2 or 3 things that are very important there. So the part in red is important for the tutorial because in the descriptor that we will give you, you will have to change the name and put no spaces and no special characters in the name of the application. But beyond that, what's important to see is that it points to a Docker image that will be automatically downloaded at execution time. And this is how we make deployment easier. And then another important thing is the command line here. You'll get a simplified command line just with the name of the executable, the input and output file. So the name of the executable is the one that will be available inside the Docker image, and input and output files are made available by VIP with a mechanism that you don't need to understand today, but it's important that just to know that you have to clearly put them in the description. Inputs can be strings, files, numbers, and it's important to know if it's a file because VIP will automatically transfer those files. And then output files, the same. It's important to know it so that VIP can retrieve it and make it available for you for download at the end. And you have here, for the tutorial, we'll do very simple things, basic stuff with JSON descriptors, but the Boutique schema is very, very powerful, and you can have all the details at this address here, okay? So before we go to the wrap up, what we'll do now is that we'll go into the VIP production platform where we have already created an account, and we'll use the file transfer inside the mini gateways group folder. So mini gateways here. You'll have a folder with JSON files, and you will be able to download them from the production VIP portal, right? So I'll click here on download. Please, you can do it with me, I think, because
Yes.
Axel has already made the demo. So you'll see the file on the right-hand side in the pool of transfers, and then you have to click download once again so that you can download it on your own computer. So now I'll just save it on my computer. Let's put it on the desk. And then you can open it in your favorite, that's not the one. You can open it with your favorite text editor. And you need to change the name, as I was saying. So why is it so important to change the name? Because this is the name that will be used by VIP for deployment. And if you all use the same name on the same VIP instance, you will just overwrite the ones of your colleagues and you won't know which one is yours. So just you can put your surname, or you can put anything else that may be unique or different from the others. So for the author, of course, it's best to put your name here. And then if you want to, you can change many other things here. But I don't know if you have the time, because we'll also have to import it into VIP. So once you've done at least these 2 changes here, you save it and you go to the new VIP instance. Oh, right. So the password. So once you're there, the password is the same as the login. So for test3@vip.fr, for example, the password is simply test3. Okay, so let's go. Let's take test 6. So I'll go into this demo instance. I'll log in with test6@eap.fr. The password is test6, and I'll sign in. And then you'll see that you have access to lots of things, much more things than you had previously, because now you're admin. So next to your name up here, you can see it's written administrator. So VAP administrator, and you can do plenty of things with that. And now, once you're here, we will once again use the file transfer to upload the newly modified JSON file. So I encourage you to go to and upload it into your home. So you go into your home folder, use the upload button, and then choose the modified FSL JSON. You click upload, and then you see that it's uploading. And once it's uploaded, you'll be able to import it with using the application importer, and I'll hand over to Axel for this part. Any questions on this part? So maybe we can wait 2 or 3 minutes for you to upload the JSON so that we can do. Yeah, I suggest that for this last part, we can do things at the same time. We do things a bit more slowly, and you can do it together with us.
Just one step.
Yeah, because it can the step of importing a few minutes, so it's very.
So there's only one step, but it's important.
There's a question.
So Leigh asks, what things were we to change in the JSON file?
So just the name. So there is 2 things. Is put your name at 2 places. So you just have to put your name.
So if you downloaded the JSON file, it was written here. So in the JSON you download, there's a string that says put your name. It happens in 2 places, in the name of the tool and in the author. So these are the 2 things that you need to change for the tutorial. And if you want, you can change others, of course.
When we upload the file, do we need to change the file name so it's different from other people's upload? Or is the home file just my home file?
Exactly. If you put it in your home, you can keep the name as it is.
Okay, thank you.
So I take on. Okay, perfect. So I just opened my own boutique file. I have to click refresh when it's finished to make it appear into my home. Like now, so my file is available on this VLP instance. I can close the file transfer tool and I will go into the application importer tool there. So just a single click. So the first part is just a file selector to select the boutique file I want to import. So I click on the Browse button. I will go once again into my home and I select the file that I just uploaded. And I click on Import. So VAP is reading the boutique file to verify it seems okay. And now this is the final step to import the application. There the top panels are just reminders of the image I just upload. So there is a name. I put my name into the application name. So a reminder of the same thing that was in the boutique file. And what is important is it at the bottom right panel, it is where I configure how the application will be imported. So the first input selector is the directory where the application will be imported. So there is a default place that should be okay, but you can also once again, go back to the root of the storage and select your home. So this is a place where VIP will generate application specific files. Then I have a combo box to select the type of application. So we advise to use a standalone application. Then there is a checkbox to indicate VIP that we must that we want this application to run on Dirac. And so this is important and this is mandatory for the tutorial for the application to run on the resources we created for the tutorial. And finally, the final thing is to select the Dirac tag that is available, the Dirac tag link gateways. So that is to tell Dirac to launch the execution on the specific machines we set up.
So maybe we can pause
Yes,
just
I will
2
pause there.
seconds. Yeah.
So to remind what is important is to tick this checkbox, application must run on grid, and to select this Dirac tag as the last step.
So as Axel explained, this will condition where the application will get executed. And this may be tricky, but when we say application must run on grid and not locally, so by locally we understand the VIP server. It never runs on your own computer. If you launch it through VIP, it's either on VIP resources or on EGI resources, like the called grid resources.
Yeah. Normally, this is a page only Sorina we can see, so it is a bit new that we let users see it and configure it. So once everything is ready, we just have to click on the Create Application button. So I will do it. And then this step must take some long seconds because actually it creates several files. VIP has several things to do to create and to initialize the applications. And so you should be patient for this step. You can do it, of course.
Yes, please go ahead. Any issues, any problems with modifying and uploading the JSON? Any issues with importing it? Should we stay a bit longer on this page, or can we move on? That's important because these parameters are important for importing, and then we'll see that there's another step that's important for you in order to see the application on your home page.
Actually, so the next step, when the application, so I saw the green notification telling me it was a success, but the application is not yet available on the home page. I can go, as I am a user, I can go into the applications tool from VIP. So I can click on it. And then I will see every application that was imported into VIP. So I can see mine, but I can see Lee's application, Marcus's application. So every application is that was imported into this VIP instance is visible there. To make the application available on the home page, I have to add it in a class. So what I can do is I can edit my own application with edit tool, or I can also double click on it. And on the right panel, I have to select in which class to put it. So there's only one available, so you must select the mini gateway class and click on save to save your modifications. And once this is done, so as for groups, it isn't immediate. You have to refresh the browser to let the AP know the change. And so when I refresh, I can see my new application that I successfully imported into the AP. So I will go back to the application tool. So the application tool is there. You must double click on your applications and add the mini gateway class. and then refresh your browser. If you're curious, you can see at the bottom some information about the application that was imported, so that is VIP specific stuff. We also know a published version, so that is available for administrator to publish the application into Zenodo and to some public repositories. You shouldn't do it, but it's possible. Okay, maybe I can refresh here to see. I see nobody. If you have an issue with that, you can ask us. Maybe the import stuff is not finished yet for you.
So for security reasons, we will not be able to keep these accounts open for very long. So what we can say is that we'll keep it open for a few more hours today, and then we'll have to stop the demo instance. Of course, you can keep your accounts on the VIP production platform as long as you want, and you can launch other applications. And please don't hesitate to contact us if you want to import. So if you want to import a new application into the VIP production instance, this is the way to do it. You write the JSON file that points to an existing Docker image or Singularity image, and then you contact us. And this last step that you cannot do unless you're admin, it's the VIP team who handles it. But otherwise, I mean, we wanted to show it to you because I think it's nice to see how to import a new application. It should be easy, but then details can be more complicated. So I don't know if you have any questions, just go ahead.
So of course, once the application is imported, you can, as in the VIP production, you can click on it to launch an instance that will also, that is of course possible if you want to play with your new application. So as you can see, this is a more limit. There is no, just a few options, so you can change the boutique file to add any option you want. Okay. So Marcus.
Thank you very much, Noreen, and hope to see you soon.
Close the session.
Yes, well, I think we still have 2 or 3 minutes in case you have any other questions. Leigh, you wanted to say something?
No, just watching the time. I think this has been great. I feel like I followed along. right up to the very end, I started to get a little lost, but that's why we have the recording. Everybody can go back and look at it again later. So yeah, we just have another minute or two. So anybody who has questions in general or about the tutorial, now is a great time to speak up. Okay, we do have a comment in the chat. So saying that it was something nice they'll look into.
Yeah, thanks for a great tutorial.
So I guess
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so
Yes,
we should thank all of our presenters for the tutorial. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to go into a break for about 30 minutes, and then we have lightning talks starting at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So translate that to wherever you're at. So we hope everybody will come back for those, and also the talks tomorrow as well. Right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye. I'll stop the recording.